Imagine you're standing in a busy food market in Laos. The air is thick with humidity, smoke from cooking fires curls through narrow aisles, and vendors shout over one another as metal pots clatter and knives hit cutting boards. You're casually shopping for dinner, letting curiosity guide you. Then you see it. On a wooden table sits an animal that looks like evolution got confused halfway through. Part rat, part squirrel, maybe a hint of chinchilla. Its fur is thick, its body oddly shaped, and its face unsettlingly ancient. You point at it. The vendor smiles. Locals call it kanu. They say it's delicious with rice. What you don't know, what no one tells you, is that you're about to eat an animal that scientists believed went extinct 11 million years ago. 11 million years! This creature was supposed to be gone long before humans existed. Before our ancestors stood upright. Before grasslands spread across continents. Before entire mountain ranges rose and eroded away. And yet here it is, on a dinner table, in the modern world. And somehow, this isn't even the strangest comeback story you're about to hear. Welcome to the world of Lazarus species. Animals that returned from extinction. Creatures written off as lost to time, only to reappear when science least expected them. They didn't rise from the dead. They never died at all. They were hiding. The term Lazarus species comes from the biblical figure Lazarus, who famously rose from the dead. In biology, it refers to species that vanish from the fossil record or human observation for long periods of time, sometimes millions of years, only to reappear alive. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Declaring a species extinct is one of the hardest things a scientist can ever do. It's not just saying, we can't find it. It's saying, we have searched nearly every plausible habitat. We have exhausted known locations. And the probability of survival is lower than the probability of total disappearance. And yet, again and again, nature proves us wrong. Which brings us to the heavyweight champion of reports of my death have been greatly exaggerated. To understand why the coelacanth shocked the world, you need to understand what scientists believed in the early 1900s. Coelacanths were ancient, lobe-finned fish that first appeared over 400 million years ago. That's before dinosaurs, before trees as we know them, when the most advanced land plants were basically moss with ambition. These fish weren't just weird, they were important. Their thick, muscular fins looked suspiciously like limbs. Scientists believed they represented an evolutionary stepping stone between sea life and land animals, a rough draft of legs. But according to the fossil record, coelacanths disappeared around 66 million years ago, right around the same time an asteroid ended the dinosaurs' reign. Case closed. Extinct. Until December 1938, off the coast of South Africa, a fishing trawler hauled in its daily catch near the Columna River. Mixed in with the usual fish was something wrong. It was massive, covered in thick, armored scales. And it had fins that didn't look like fins. They looked like arms. The fish ended up in the hands of Marjorie Courtenay-Latimer, a museum curator who immediately realized this wasn't normal. Despite the smell, the decomposition, and the sheer absurdity of the situation, she preserved the specimen and contacted South Africa's leading fish expert, J.L.B. Smith. When Smith finally saw it, he described the moment as being hit by a white-hot blast, because there unmistakably was a living coelacanth, a fish that was supposed to have been extinct longer than primates have existed. Science didn't just blink. Science panicked. As more coelacanths were found, things got even stranger. They didn't just look ancient. They behaved like something out of evolutionary limbo. They swim by moving their fins in an alternating left-right pattern, exactly like land animals walking. Their skulls contain a unique hinge that allows them to open their entire face when feeding, creating a gape so wide, it looks unreal. Their spine isn't even a proper spine. It's a pressurized tube called a notochord, something most vertebrates lose before birth. Their brain fills just 1% of their skull. The rest is fat. They reproduce painfully slowly. Females don't reproduce until around 60 years old. Pregnancy lasts 5 years. They can live over a century. And after surviving multiple mass extinctions, they're now endangered. because of us. This is the tragic irony of Lazarus species. After surviving asteroid impacts, ice ages, and continental shifts, many of them now face extinction from habitat loss, overfishing, pollution, and human expansion. Which brings us to another resurrection story, one that feels less like ancient mystery and more like a Disney movie with a scientific twist. Black-footed ferrets are North America's only native ferret species. They look cute. They are not. They are specialized killing machines built to hunt prairie dogs. One ferret can kill over 100 prairie dogs a year just to survive. And for thousands of years, that system worked perfectly. Until humans arrived. Ranchers saw prairie dogs as competition for cattle. Massive poisoning campaigns wiped out over 90% of prairie dog populations. The ferrets collapsed with them. By 1979, the last known black-footed ferret died in captivity. Extinct. Until 1981. In Wyoming, a ranch dog named Shep trotted home carrying something in his mouth. The rancher's wife wanted it mounted. The taxidermist froze, because Shep hadn't brought home a rodent. He had brought home an extinct species. Scientists rushed in. A tiny population was discovered, about 130 individuals. But disease struck. Only 7 ferrets survived to reproduce. Every black-footed ferret alive today descends from those 7. And that leads us into science fiction territory. In 1988, researchers preserved tissue from ferrets that never reproduced. Decades later, they cloned one. Her name was Elizabeth Ann, a ferret from the past, living in the present, to save the future. And this is where part 1 ends, with the realization that extinction isn't always final. Sometimes, it's just hiding. This animal looks like a pig. It acts like a pig, sounds like a pig, rolls in mud like a pig. It is not a pig. It's a peccary. Peccaries and pigs diverged 37 million years ago. They're less related to pigs than lions are to hyenas. And one species, the Chacon peccary, was believed extinct for thousands of years, until locals casually mentioned hunting them. Scientists finally looked. They were wrong. The Chacon peccary survived unnoticed in the brutal Gran Chaco region of South America, a place of heat, thorns, and isolation. But deforestation is erasing that refuge, from extinct to rediscovered to endangered again. Which brings us to conservation's strangest success story. New Zealand's taka is a flightless bird with bright blue feathers and a red beak that looks glued on. Declared extinct in 1898, rediscovered in 1948, barely survived. So conservationists used puppets, fake parents, costumed humans, Sesame Street for birds, and it worked. Today, over 500 taka exist, which brings us full circle. The rodent from Laos, the Laotian rock rat, not a new species, a survivor from an 11-million-year-old lineage, a Lazarus species hiding in limestone caves while humanity rose, spread, and nearly erased it. Not all stories end happily. The thylacine, the ivory-billed woodpecker, animals that may be gone forever kept alive only by hope, blurry footage, and human regret. Lazarus species teach us 2 things. We are bad at finding things. Nature is incredibly resilient, but resilience has limits. Rediscovery doesn't mean safety. It means one last chance. Somewhere out there, other species may still be hiding, clinging to existence, waiting, and whether they survive depends on what we do next. Thanks for watching.